How's it going, everyone? I'm Sean Anderson, a current medical school applicant, joined today by my friend
Wilson too. I'm currently a post-spec. I'm at the beginning of the path and I will be starting this fall.
I've been a medical scribe for about a year and a half, I would say, and Wilson
2.5 years actually.
2.5 years. That's a long time. And he's a trainer, so he actually trains new scribes, which is pretty cool. So what is a medical scribe? I get asked this a lot. A lot of my pre-med peers, they'll come up to me and be like, hey Sean, like, what do you do? I know you work in a hospital, but like I don't know what you do. I want to get involved. I want to get that clinical experience. What is a medical scribe? And that's what we're here to tell you guys about. So Wilson, what is a medical scribe?
So, medical scribe. Essentially, we are personal assistants to the doctor. We are there for every step of the patient encounter. We are there for the initial history taking, the exam, all the different components that go into doctors seeing patients. And we get an intimate view into the experience unlike any other profession. We see what doctors do day in and day out. And most notably, what we provide to the doctors is every day they have to handle dozens upon dozens of charts. They can keep them on for practically an entire third of the day. But us as medical scribes, we can take that burden away. So they can focus on patient care. They can focus on being with the patient and providing them treatment. So they don't have to worry about being stuck at a computer for hours afterwards.
So yeah, we're really letting the providers see way more patients. We're letting them be more face-to-face with them. And we have the added bonus of getting all that experience by doing their charts. You're learning the terminology. You're learning the process. It is a linear process through the physical exam, the assessment, the labs, the scans, and then the diagnosis. And you are there for all of it. You're documenting all of it to the point where you can really, like, you could give report on a patient from the time they came into the ED to the time that they left. And that is such a big, big skill that you're going to bring to medical school. And that's probably one of the best things about being a scribe. Speaking of best things about being a scribe, we're going to talk about the pros and cons about being a scribe really quick, because that's what a lot of people ask about. They're like, well, you know, what are the good things, but also like, what are kind of the bad things? And so Wilson, what are some of the best things about being a scribe?
One of the best things about being a scribe is that compared to other clinical experiences, you get to see physicians at the most critical moments in a patient's care. You get to see, so for example, we work in the emergency department right now, and as scribes with limited medical experience beforehand, we get to watch intubations, we get to watch central line patients, we see patients that are near death's door being brought in, and we get to watch ACLS protocol, we get to watch the physicians acting as the leader, uniting the team together to get a patient back to function so that we can bring them into the hospital for further care. Not many other experiences can lay the same claim. During this process as a medical scribe, you are with the physician throughout the entire day. You get to build a relationship, to build a rapport, to understand what goes into their decision-making process, what they do, what their life is like, and this can translate favorably into a letter of recommendation.
And you're going to want those letters of recommendation when you guys apply to med school. And so what are the cons of being a medical scribe? Now, the number one con is definitely the pay. Scribes do not get paid a lot. Different companies have different base pays. A lot of them will offer chances to get promotions. I know our company did. Once you reach 300 hours of scribing, you got some sort of raise. But the pay is definitely one of the biggest gripes that people have with being a scribe. What you're sacrificing in that pay is the ability to get the experience. So when you're hired, when you're on board, a lot of what they tell you is that yes, the pay is pretty low, but you're also getting experience that you wouldn't really get anywhere else. So you kind of got to sacrifice the pay for the experience. And depending on where you are in your academic career or your medical career, that's something you're going to have to weigh out. And, if you can afford a smaller pay, or maybe work two jobs, maybe we have a lot of coworkers that work as scribes, maybe part-time, and then have another job as well. And that way they can really supplement their clinical experience and then still make a good paycheck at the end of the day.
Now, I want to add a little caveat on top of that. That may be the case for some scribe companies, and this will come up later, but not every scribe job is necessarily low pay. There's different types of scribing positions. So we're currently hired through a scribing company, which basically acts as a contractor that deals with different medical groups, and we are trained by the company to work for the physicians. Places that can give higher pay are hospitals or clinics that offer direct hire services, where you can get the full package, a more competitive pay rate, in-house training, insurance, the full benefits. You can make scribing into a livable circumstance if you know where to look.
So another one of the cons of being a scribe that you guys are going to possibly find out is the shifts. Now, being a scribe, you are staffing with a provider, whether it's a physician, an NP, or a PA, and you are there to be with them for that entire shift. These shifts can be 8 hours, 10 hours, or 12 hours, but although it's a con, it actually is a really good thing. Because no matter what profession you go into as a physician or an NP or a PA, you're going to want to get used to those long hours. All these physicians, whether you're an ER physician or especially if you're on call, and if you're an on-call like surgeon, for example, you might be working a 36-hour shift. And that really makes it sound like, scribe shifts are really not that bad. So this is a great time to get that kind of experience where you have to be in the hospital for long periods of time. Because as a student even, you're going to have to do that. And this is a really good time to get used to it and to really see if it's something you can do. And if it's something you can't, maybe it's a great time to build up your endurance.
You are already into the medical school process, and you've gotten to see what scribing has done for you as a medical school applicant. So tell me, what makes this such a valuable experience for people on the journey to becoming a physician?
Yeah, so scribing is a very, very good tool to have on your medical school application. It shows these schools that you have clinical experience. It shows them that you went to go seek out that experience and want to pursue medical school even after getting the experience. And that tells them that you're dedicated, that you learned, and that you really sought out that that confirmation that this was something you wanted to do. I've gone on a few interviews already, and they've already brought up what kind of clinical experience do you have? Or, I've done multiple mini interviews, and those interviews, some of them will involve you talking to a patient. And that, being a scribe, where I've gone to see so many patient encounters, helps so much with the interview, because I was able to talk to a patient in a way that is so structured that I felt like I just blew it out of the water because of the fact that I had that experience and I wasn't nervous at all going into an interview where I had to kind of role play and talk to a patient. A lot of what I tell people is, I say it's like page shadowing. It's like you're getting, once you kind of get used to the whole scribing part and you get used to kind of the flow, you're really there to learn. I go in every shift and I feel like I walk out learning something.
And to something to add on, you get to see every stage of the process for medical school by working with these medical students. You get to interact with the residents, you get to work with the attendings and watch all of them interact with each other and learn vicariously through them and how they interact with the staff and with the patients.
So now we're going to do a couple frequently asked questions that I found online and also some that I've just been asked myself, and we're going to answer a couple of them. The first one being, what is the training like to become a medical scribe? And Wilson, as a trainer, is the perfect person to tell us about that.
Alright, so essentially, you throw in an online application. What they have you do after you fill that out is you take a little typing test. You just need to hit a specific number, words per minute, in order to pass. This can be done with a couple repetitions here and there. Just practice using any online search engine type test, and you'll be able to get through. The part that matters the most with scribing is the on-floor residency training. Once you've passed through initial EMR practice. Essentially, they assign you to an experienced scribe. You work on the floor. You get to see what it's like to flow through a hospital or an office for the first time. And what you do here, you practice, you get little bits of charts, you learn how to talk with the provider to obtain specific information. So, for example, hey doc, what is the physical exam finding for this patient? Hey doc, what was their past medical history? Did they have diabetes? Etc., etc. You learn that flow, you learn that design, and once you've proven that you can start working independently, you get more and more freedom until you reach your solo shift. And that is where you work live as a scribe for the doctor.
Yeah, so a lot of people think they just you apply, you get hired, and they're just like, here you go, get into the ER.
You don't get thrown in like that.
You don't just get thrown in. Another question I get a lot is, do scribes provide direct patient care? And the best answer is no. We are not here, we're not actually going to touch the patient. That is not part of our training, that's not part of our scope. we can provide things. We have a couple like peripheral jobs that we can do. Like we can grab a couple blankets. If a patient asks you for a blanket, a lot of times they'll ask you to ask the doctor something. If they see you, they might stop you. That's common. That's fine. You can go up to your physician and be like, hey, our patient in room 21 asked blah 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 blah, and that's fine. But it is worth saying that some of the medical schools that I applied to on their applications did list scribing as direct patient care. They mentioned it underneath it, and they said as long as you were in a room with a patient during evaluations or anything, that they consider that direct patient care. So for some applications, you will be able to put scribing for that section.
So a way to kind of understand it, although we don't provide direct patient care, what is valuable with scribing in this context is that we are part of the care team. We are working not just with the doctor, but with the other staff members in the hospital, in the clinic, and we are participating in the patient's care by working on the charts and being on hand with the physician during the encounter. It is patient care, just not in the way that people understand with people coding or us rushing in to save someone's life. Not like that.
So another question I get asked pretty often is, can I move up as a scribe? Are there other positions? Is there a way that I can make a better paycheck as a medical scribe? And so Wilson, you can definitely shine some light on that.
So speaking from my experience, there are, again, multiple ways to get into the scribe business. You can join the scribe company, you can do direct hire. Now, direct hire, that's where you are directly employed by the hospital or the clinic, and you get a more negotiable pay rate. We're over $15 an hour for, at least that's what we get in Nevada. You can get your insurance, your benefits. You are treated just as an employee with the appropriate resources. Now, when you work as part of a scribing company, you're working through a contractor, and the pay is lower there. If you want to be able to move up from pay and you're going through a scribing company, there's multiple avenues. So you can start off as trainers. You can get a small pay differential going up through there. For a lot of scribes that want more money, they go into leadership. So we as a company, we have a head trainer position, and they manage all the new trainees. They handle the training process, and they get up to several dollars, and they have more opportunities for earning pay. Chief scribes, they also have that same opportunity. They work as our leaders. They help mobilize our schedules. They act as our representatives to the physicians, and they not only manage the training process, but they handle the schedule. They oversee scribe operations and all of the other candor in addition to being scribes themselves, and that is another avenue to earn pay. If you want to upgrade beyond just simply scribing, you want to take it towards, say, corporate level, we have a lot of ways to go up. We can go through HR, we can act as operations managers. We've had scribes in our own team that have switched into other facility positions.
So the last commonly asked question that I get as a medical scribe is, what kind of hours do you have to work? Do you have to be full-time? Can you work part-time? Is it something I can fit in with my school schedule? And so I'm actually a part-time scribe, and Wilson, you are a full-time scribe. Mm-hmm. And so there are a couple of differences. As a part-time scribe, I am only obligated to 2 shifts per week, which can range between about 16 to 24 hours. Now, the nice thing about being a part-time scribe, in my opinion, is that there are always shifts to pick up. As a scribe, you can post your shift on our schedule, and then if you need someone to take it from you, and if you want to pick up some shifts, maybe you want to make a little bit of extra money that week, maybe you have some more free time, you can just go on the schedule, see who's posted their shifts, and just pick it up. And that is, in my opinion, the way that I've been doing it. That helps me fit scribing in with school, and it helps adjust to my sometimes hectic schedule, because some weeks I'm super busy and some weeks I have a lot more free time. And especially with applying to medical school, it's a great thing for me to be able to do.
Full-time scribes, more hours, we get more control of our preferences, so we can actually request for specific providers more often. We get insurance benefits depending on the company you work at. And while you might not be able to make as much money, it is possible to live off of scribe's salary, and getting those benefits can make that big difference. Something that is helpful with scribing is that you don't have to be on call, and that the shifts are pretty straightforward. They're not extensive compared to other clinical experiences, and You can work whatever hours you want in your clinic or hospital. You can be in mornings, you can be in afternoons or in evenings, depending on what you want. And you can switch as you need by a monthly basis. And this can be very valuable as you go through the pre-med journey.
If you guys are curious about some of the Scribe companies that are out there, I'm going to put a list of them in the description below along with the website so that you guys can go on and apply and maybe become a medical scribe sometime soon. Thank you guys for watching this video. I know it's a little bit long, but we really wanted to make sure that you guys understood what a medical scribe was, got all the details that you can. If we didn't answer a question that you have about medical scribing, definitely comment it below and we will get back to you and answer your question. That way you guys know everything you need to do to become a medical scribe. Thank you, Wilson, for joining me today. If you guys are new to the channel, I'm going to be posting a lot more medical school applicant videos to really help you guys on your medical school application journey. As a current applicant who is on his interviews right now, I've learned a lot about the process of applying, and my hope is to share a lot of this information and advice with you guys. So make sure you guys hit the subscribe button and stay tuned for more videos. We'll see you guys next time.
Peace.